Welcome to Amateur Redneck Workshop. I'm Harold, and this is part 2 of part 10 of building a belt grinder. That was a lot. That was a mouthful, huh? Anyway, we'll hopefully get through with this because I've come up with a whole lot of other things that I want to do when I get through with this, and some are short and quick, and some take a long time, and I guess, you know, I got to finish this before I get started on something else, right? All right, let's don't be jawing around, wasting time. Let's just get on with it. Inch through there to tighten and loosen and adjust the screws that are going to be slotted on the other side. So now we'll roll it over and get a look at the other side. I don't know if I said so or not, but my intention is to put a 1/4 inch slot. It's about 100 thousandths wide. That should give me plenty of adjustment for things. And if it doesn't, I'll bring it back over here and do it again. Huh? That's the only way I know to do it. Already got the 1/4 inch hole, so now to move over the other side a little bit. Do the same thing, and then I'll run it back and forth to make the slot smooth. I took my tri-square and my Randy Richards scribe, and I marked off the hole positions to exactly match this piece here, as you can see. And so now I'm going to make them 1/4 20. I thought on it, would I drill all the way through and run the bolts through and then just grind them off smooth to the surface, or would I drill the hole almost through and thread down into a blind thread? Now, of course, it's a lot more elegant to, you know, make a blind hole and thread down into it there. But it's sure a lot more difficult, you know. So I decided I'm just going to drill it straight through, thread it straight through, run my bolt through it, grind it off smooth to the surface, and use that as the method of fastening it down. So I'll get on with that while you're having yet another electronic nap. My threading chart for 1/4 20 gives me a choice of a 75% thread or a 50% thread. So if I use a letter F drill bit, I get a 75% thread, and if I use a 7/32 drill bit, I get a 50% thread. Well, I've had troubles with 75% threads being too tight on some of the cheap bolts that I buy, and so I've got to where I mostly make 50% threads. Those are a lot easier on your tap anyway, so I've got a 7/32 bit there, and I'm going to make a 50% thread. Slippery chuck or not, and probably it's really good to have a slippery chuck here, I'm going to try to power tap this thing. And if it starts slipping so much the better, because I don't want to break it off. Although I've got some more of this metal, why waste taps? It went to slipping, so it didn't break the tap. Now I know somebody's going to say, well, why didn't you use your Tapmatic? Well, it takes a while to set it up. It's a lot longer than this, and I have to raise the head way up, and just for 2 holes, probably not a good thing. Now I'll just get my tap wrench and finish that off, but at least it's in there nice and straight. And it's mostly through. Alright, the holes are drilled and tapped, and that tap went almost all the way through. It didn't take just a few turns with a wrench. If I had been running this thing, I think, say up around 2,000 RPM, I believe that's what the Tapmatic calls for this size tap, it probably would have sunk in there like a hot knife through butter. But I'm probably too slow to turn the off switch, you know, so that's why I went so slow, about 800 RPM there. Anyway, now then we can move on to making a little angle on the ends there for the belt to slide past. Alright, Mr. Pete cut his Jacobs wedges just exactly like I'm doing this. And maybe I can do this without kicking the tripod. We'll see. Something is wrong with this machine, because I swear that I can see that end mill slowing down. I can see my my drill chuck slowing down, I'm pretty sure too. So something somewhere is not right. Pretty sure of that. And then it could be my imagination, but I don't really think so. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this, try to level it out, and you guys can take a nap while I suffer. I was right on both counts. The belt was slipping and my workpiece was not in there perfectly level, but it is now. Alright, so I got it level for the last cut, which was good. About time. And I thought that was for the belt to slip off the end, but really, looking back at the drawings, that's for clearance for the wheels, the idler wheels that go on there. Well, anyway, we're going to get it right. We'll finish it up. Well, with the use of the little angle block, I got both ends cut, and I think I'll just fit everything onto the grinder just to see how it's going to look. Not ready yet for total finishing up, but let's see. So that's just sort of stuck on there. This is facing the wrong way. I turned it around, so I didn't finish tightening up the bolts to hold it on there. And I've got 1/4 20 by 1/2 inch screws in there, and after putting it in there I realized this piece right here is a 1/2 inch. So I've only got it halfway through there. I need 1/4 20 by 3/4, but I go from 1/2 to 1 inch over there in the box. So I'll definitely have some to grind off. But anyway, that's how it's going to fit. Move on to the next step. Alright, I got everything facing the right direction, and I moved to the next size of cap screw that I've got. So I might as well go ahead and get the hacksaw and cut the ends off of those guys, so that I can grind them smooth. Alright, there you go, hardcore flap wheel, and it's just as smooth as a baby's behind. So that part's done. Now I got to make the brackets for the idler wheels. Well, I tell you what, it's past 5, probably closer to 6. Tomorrow's 22 Fun Sunday. It looks like the weather's going to be dry, which means the range is going to be dry, which means they'll hold the event. So I think I should stop, pack up my 22s in the truck, get it all ready for tomorrow, and we'll be back on this Monday. Alright, so I'm going to drill out these two pieces to thread them with 1/2 inch holes. These are going to be the brackets that hold the little idler wheels for the platen. And once I get them drilled and located and tapped and all that, I'll bring you back. Alright, so here's the current state of affairs this far in the day. I've got the little auxiliary rollers mounted for this guy. I've got, unfortunately, too weak of a spring. They want a torsion spring, and you've got to get a pretty strong torsion spring to make that move. This is the one I got from Zorro, and it's not anywhere near strong enough. I've looked all over the place for torsion springs. 40 inch-pound seems to be about the top of the range everywhere you go for stock springs. You'd have to have one custom made. Which brings me to the thought that I may modify that that bracket to use a compression spring or a extension spring, and get away from this torsion spring. or I may break down and try to do it on my lathe. I would sure I would sure hate to damage my lathe, you know, and that's what I think would be the outcome of messing with it. But and of course I still got the tool rest tables to build. It's going to be right there on that bar that I just pulled out. I did have a tiny little bit of a miscalculation. I didn't make the legs long enough under there, so I had to go back and put a 1-inch block under the thing so I'd have clearance for these idler wheels. And once I get that squared away, get the tool rest built and the idler wheels and the tensioner wheel and all that all straight and in line, and a spring that'll hold tension, then I've got to put a power cord on the thing, and it'll be complete. So I would guess at least another week before I get finished. I didn't put a lot of this on video because I goofed off so much, and I wanted to go ahead and get some kind of progress made. And so this is some kind of progress is what we're looking at here. And I think everything's going to work out just right, though. So, and one other little problem. The motor is cocked over this way when it needs to have the tail end of it come back around just a little bit. I can solve that with a couple of washers under the mounts and get the motor in perfect alignment. But I think that we're going to actually come up with something that's going to be finished. Didn't finish it in 2018 like I'd hoped, but what the heck. Anyway, let's go off and see if we got a joke from Bubba or Thibodeau or Ole or somebody. Well, it seems like Boudreaux and Thibodeau had won just a whole bucket full of money playing Bourré. Now, Bourré is a Cajun game that I don't even pretend to know how to play, but you can lose a whole lot of money in a real hurry or win a whole lot of money in a real hurry playing Bourré. But anyway, they did it. They won, I mean, a bucket full of money. They was playing against some rich Cajuns down there in New Orleans. So what they did with their money is they went and bought themselves an airline. And on their very first flight, going from New Orleans to Jamaica, the engine conked out and the thing crashed on, heading crash landing in the water. And Thibodeau got in there and he says, "All right, folks," he says, I got the bad news for you. He says, "This plane's going down in the water." He says, "We want all of you that can swim to line up over here on the left side of the plane, and all of you that can't swim to line up over here on the right." He says, "And when we hit the water," he says, "I want all you folks on the left side of the plane to jump out the door and swim for shore." And he says, "And all you folks on the right side of the plane, me and Thibodeau want to thank you for flying Boudreaux Thibodeau Airlines." Well, that's all, folks. Y'all try to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Leave a comment if you got something to say. And above all, remember, keep on keeping on. Bye now.